How's it going, guys? Cameron here, it's Canadian Gamer, back at you with another video. This one should be pretty entertaining. A few things I want to talk about actually on this episode. The first thing is, last night, try to make a long story short, I had to take a trip to Walmart. I had to pick up a ladder, and while I was in the store, I noticed Stephen King's new novel was like 40% off, maybe because of COVID-19. I don't know if it's a blowout special. I didn't pick it up. I'm a huge fan of Stephen King, but the weird thing about it was I come home and then I'm like, fuck it, I'll watch a movie. So I put on this movie. For those of you who aren't up and up with your movies, this is The Lawnmower Man from 1992. And the funny thing is, the catchphrase on the front, it says, one of the hottest science fiction movies to blow your mind since Total Recall. Total Recall is one of my most favorite movies of all time. And on the back, it even says at the top, wow, the best computer animation since Terminator 2. So and it's good. It's really good animation in the movie. Stars Jeff Fahey and Pierce Brosnan, Mr. 007 himself. So the funny thing is about The Lawnmower Man, it's a movie that's basically, it's based about virtual reality. Funny thing is about it is, The Lawnmower Man is actually originally a short story by Stephen King, ironically enough. And the crazy thing about this movie, they changed Stephen King's original story so drastically that it actually pissed Stephen King off so much that Stephen King basically sued, the company Alliance, because he didn't want to have his name attached to the movie at all. So I think there's earlier VHS pressings on it that say the typical, based on a story by Stephen King. That's nowhere to be found on the later pressings. And, Alliance kept it up. They were advertising the movie in 1992 on TV. The trailer still mentions Stephen King's name on it. Because you have to remember, Stephen King, anything associated with Stephen King from a marketing standpoint is going to give it an even greater push, right? But they even had to remove that. Long story short, Stephen King won a huge lawsuit. And so that's why when you check out The Lawnmower Man, if you read up on it, there's really nothing about Stephen King associated with it. And even on Stephen King's own website, where he lists all of the movies based on his books, on his stories, what's the one that he leaves out? It's The Lawnmower Man. He wants nothing to do with it. There is a sequel to the movie as well. I've never seen it. It got bad reviews. But The Lawnmower Man, it is actually a really good movie. If you get a chance, if you haven't already seen it, it's a fantastic movie. So today what I want to talk about is, it's actually talking about the Xbox Series X that's coming out here in the fall. A lot of us are really excited for it. Look, I'm excited for it myself. I'm not buying it, but it doesn't mean I can't be excited for it. And this is what I want to talk about. I was, last night, later on in the evening, I busted out Halo 5 for the Xbox One. And I know some people are on the fence about this game. I am having a blast with this game. I think it's fantastic. I think the fun factor is a 10 out of 10. And I was never a Halo guy. I never really got into the franchise until this year. At the beginning of the year, I popped on the masterpiece Halo 2. Again, thinking, why would I like a game like this? This game's fantastic. I didn't get too far in it because what happened is I ended up picking up a new Xbox One, and it came with Halo 5, and I've been hooked on this ever since, even though this was done by 505 Games, and this was obviously done by the original dev team. But nonetheless, Halo is a fantastic franchise. Can't get enough of it. And the same goes for this here. Got into it last year. Gears of War. Now this is Gears of War 2, if I'm not mistaken, the collector's edition. And I love Gears of War. I've become such a huge fan of Gears of War. And I've become a huge fan of this as well. Forza Motorsports. Fantastic game. This is the original game that came out on the OG Xbox. Why am I bringing up these three games? Because when you think about Microsoft and you think about the Xbox, those are typically the three games that come to mind. And a lot of people would say, they would make the argument, this is all that Microsoft has, Are these three great reasons to buy a Series X? I think it is. If that's all that Microsoft has to offer, which I don't know, you know, with Microsoft these days, it wouldn't put it past me if these were like launch titles on the new Xbox. I think, and this is just me speaking, just personal taste, I think these games, obviously, you know, newer versions, are enough to buy a new Xbox. I think these are strong franchises. For someone that loves Gears of War, loves Forza, big fan of Halo now, I think even if at the end of the day, if Microsoft is struggling to bring in third-party support, I think these franchises are enough to warrant buying a Series X. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm wrong. That's just how I feel about it. I'm saying, me personally speaking, if I got a new Series X and it's down in my living room and I can come home and play a new Halo or a new Forza or a new Gears game, for someone that's not, I don't game every day, you know, these are some of the best franchises out there. And look, Sony doesn't have these franchises, and Nintendo doesn't have these franchises either. So if you're an Xbox fanboy, which again, I know not everybody is, I think, like I said, I think this is a strong enough reason to buy a Series X if you're a huge fan of these franchises. Now look, I get it. There's always going to be that argument. You know, Sony's got, you know, the third-party support. They've got the support of limited run games, etc. Believe me, I get that. But for someone like myself who's heavily invested in Microsoft, I've got a pretty decent back catalog of games for the 360, the OG Xbox, and even the Xbox One. Getting the Series X, if it is backwards compatible, which I believe it will be, you know, it's a great incentive to not only play the newer exclusives on the Xbox, but to go back and play these classics as well. So I know it's a touchy subject. Again, some of you guys are going to probably argue this and you're going to say, no, you know, those three franchises have been, you know, beaten to death by Microsoft. We need some new blood. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. But for me, I still think there's a lot of life left in these franchises. And like I said, I'm having an absolute ball with this. And I know there's a new Halo coming out, and that's going to be pretty exciting as well. Hopefully that comes out this holiday season. So I'm going to end it there at the 8-minute mark. But I would like to know from you guys, seriously, do you think a new Halo, you know, a new Gears of War, a new Forza, is this enough to warrant getting the new Xbox, if nothing else? Is this enough? Or does Microsoft, you know, do they really need to have a lot more exclusives if they want to have longevity? Let me know in the comments below. I think it's an interesting topic. I'd like to hear from you guys as well. That's going to do it for this video. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching. Take care.